Hello everyone, I'm NEFC and this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm bringing you guys another Predict That 11 video for our game against Bournemouth this Saturday. But before I get into things, I was going to release a video on why I feel we need to adapt and change to a 4-3-3, but on second thinking, I'm thinking it makes more sense to release that video on a Sunday, so sorry to disappoint you, but I need more time. I'm trying to put a lot of effort and detail into this video, and I think Sunday's the best day because it's a very slow day. There's no football that day, so definitely stay tuned for Sunday. And one more final quick note, if you guys haven't been notified to the channel, please, beside the subscription button, there's a bell notification sign. Click on that to stay notified to all things Blue Lines TV. Now, getting into the team lineup. Starting with the goalkeeper, yes, Courtois will be back in goal. I must say, I think Courtois has a lot of fantastic world-class attributes, but there's one thing he's definitely lacking in this game, and I think this would really help the team out, and that's his distribution and passing out from the back. Sometimes it's just not as clinical as it needs to be, it's not as precise, and I really feel that with the way we get pressed in so easily, if we had that different facet of a keeper with great distribution, like for example, a Caballero, that could really help relieve that pressure. But regardless, I do feel that Courtois has had a good season. The amount of times that people have managed to get one-on-one with him, and you're always confident he's going to make that save with his massive frame. He knows how to get down low well. He knows how to keep his legs closed so the balls don't go through his legs. It's been fantastic, and it was an amazing bit of business to bring him into the club in the first place. Now, moving on to the back three. Moving on to the right hand side of the back three, and yes, I do feel that Azpilicueta will regain his place in the back three. I feel that this game against Bournemouth is going to be easier on Azpi because I feel that Bournemouth will be trying to play similarly to Everton. On Wednesday, I feel that Bournemouth will try to sit back, defend in the middle, and it's going to be space for Azpi to move into midfield. And I think compared to Cahill, who was doing that against Everton, I think Azpi is much better at that, especially when he can find his passes to Morata. So I think that's definitely going to be a very interesting facet, so we should definitely keep our eyes tuned for that. Moving on to the middle of the back three, and yes, David Luiz will regain his place, of course. He wasn't playing against Everton. Of course, when players aren't playing, it's a telltale sign that they will be playing the following game. And David Luiz, for me, I feel that Conte has been experimenting with him a tiny bit. In regards to the last game we played in the Premier League against Watford, I noticed that David Luiz was allowed a lot more license to actually roam forwards, leave the back three and push into midfield. And I thought that was a very interesting thing, as obviously it provides another passing outlet. David Luiz, of course, him getting forward, he's the best defender we have at playing out from the back with his distribution. It's kind of Seska-like at times, and I feel that adds another facet to our game, and I'm hoping that Conte is going to continue with that, because I feel that Bournemouth will probably only have one person up front with Joshua King playing in behind. It's not a game where we need a back three necessarily, and I feel that we have to make better use of possession, and I feel with David Luiz pushing into that midfield, commanding the ball, trying to set up the play and tempo, providing another passing outlet to help us, beat opposition presses. I think that would be the best thing tactically for that game against Bournemouth. And finally, the left-hand side of the back three, and yes, Gary Cahill will regain his place there. I have been making some points about Gary Cahill, which I feel a lot of people are just dismissing and reducing to me being negative towards him. I have nothing wrong with Gary Cahill. Of course, I've got respect for all our players, especially the players that helped us win the Champions League. My only gripe with him is that tactically he doesn't really help the team. For example, anytime teams close us down and man mark the back three, they leave Gary Cahill free for a reason. And why is that? Because they want us to force the ball to Cahill, because they know that with Cahill under pressure, with the ball at his feet, with no passing options in front of him, he's susceptible to losing it. And of course, when teams are flooding forward and pressing very high, that's how they're able to create overloads in our area, and of course we don't want that. I feel Cahill hasn't really got better at that. That's enough about the back three. Moving on to the wing backs, starting with right wing back. And I think that Zappacosta, aka Zambrotta, will be playing against Bournemouth, and I must say I've been pleasantly surprised with Zappacosta, and I feel that the way we play really brings out the most of his best attributes. Now, of course, Zappacosta does have a few weaknesses in terms of positional sense and defending. That's always been a thing even from Serie A, but what he offers with his driving runs, his willingness to stretch the play, his directness, his crossing ability, his speed, honestly, I'm very happy with it. And sometimes I've always been an advocate in football that if you create a system that focuses on your team's best qualities, then it's going to bring the best out of them. And I think with Zappacosta, as the years go on, I think he could definitely improve in a defensive aspect. But I'm happy that we've got Zappacosta, someone who's very, one-dimensional, direct, very willing to get forward. And then compared to someone like a Moses, who's, better at linking up the play, better defensively, I think it's good to have two options in one position that are completely different, because it gives you different tactical possibilities. And I must say, I've been really happy with Zappacosta, and I think it's been a great signing so far. And moving on to left wing back, yes, Marcos Alonso will regain his place there. I mean, really, we don't have any other options there at all. I feel with Alonso, as I have been saying, we're not seeing him get forward as much. I do feel it's because of the left-hand side defender behind him, because of course when Rudiger was playing there, he was more adept at pushing out wide, closing that position down. You were noticing a more attacking and a more adventurous Marcos Alonso. Now, he's not as exuberant when he's getting forward, and I think it's starting to hamper a tiny bit. I was looking at something earlier, I think the last game against Watford, the link-up play between him and Hazard wasn't really there, and I feel that it's a bit too isolated. Last season there was a bit more link-up play with Hazard drifting wider. I think might have to regain and start playing similarly to last season. But I feel that Alonso just needs better support, I feel, for him to really get forward, because Alonso is decent getting forward, he's very good aerially, puts in a good cross, can link up the play, but his limitations are obviously sometimes his defensive ability and his lack of speed. So I feel that for him to get forward, he needs to feel confident that he's got support in front of him and support behind him. Moving on to the midfield too. Now, we did see Drinkwater and Ampadu do very well as a unit in the Everton game, and of course I wasn't surprised, because their attributes really complement what Conte wants in the system. But I feel that our midfielders for the game against Bournemouth are going to be Bakayoko and Cesc Fabregas. Moving on to Bakayoko. Now, a lot of fans have been a bit critical of Bakayoko. I have been saying before we even sign him that this guy will definitely need time. Of course, no pre-season, playing in a different season, lack of full match fitness, a lot of different factors against him at this moment in time. So expect to see the goods probably around January, February time. But like I'm saying, we do see some good things, but we're seeing too many bad things. And I feel that Bakayoko isn't necessarily adapted to the pace of the Premier League just yet, especially because teams are adopting a more man-marking pressing style. And at Monaco, Bakayoko wasn't getting man-marked by anyone. No one was man-marking Fabinho and Bakayoko in games, and I feel that he is struggling a tiny bit, on top of having a lack of match fitness, playing in a different system, and then having constant pressure around him. It is a bit difficult. He is going to need time. He's still young, so let's just be patient and see what he can do. Moving on to his partner beside him, and that is Cesc Fabregas. And again, I feel there's another misunderstanding around Cesc recently. People tend to feel that when Cesc plays, that's when we lose control of the games. That's not the case. As I keep pointing out, we're very susceptible to being pressed in our own half. When teams man-mark the right centre-back, the middle centre-back, when they man-mark our two midfield players, you have to realise we like to play out from the back. Where are the passing options? We either force to play long where we have no one that can really hold up long balls, or we struggle to play out because our midfielders don't have another option or passing option to help them, beat opposition presses. So it's not helping. I've always felt with Fabregas, you see the good and bad in him. When we're on the ball, when the wing backs are forward, when we're pressing teams in their own half, that's when you see the real Cesc, because he links up the play, he gets forward. Case in point, that assist for Willian. That's what you want to see Fabregas do. That's why we need to close teams down, because Fabregas can link the pass. He can find that pass that no one else will find, and it makes a big difference, because think about it like this. If he wasn't playing, no one would have played the 1-2 with Willian, and we wouldn't have definitely secured that win by making it 2-0 at the time. And I feel that Conte sometimes has to play to some of our players' strengths, because if you want Cesc to do something alien to him, you're not going to expect the best thing, especially when you're reducing his passing options as well. Now, moving on to our front three, starting with the main man up front, Alvaro Morata. And I feel for Conte's system to really work to its 100% maximum, Alvaro Morata is very key. Not only is it his aerial ability, and obviously he's a great striker, It's what he does off the ball that helps the front three work. Now, I have made this criticism about Mitchley, even though I have said the reason why Mitchley struggles is because we're not playing to his strength, so I don't think it's necessarily fair. But with Morata, what he does with that front three is his ability to be able to drop deep, create space with the other two players beside him, link up the play as well. But the key thing is making the space for the other front two. That's how they get clear chances on goal, and that helps a lot. Unfortunately, with Mitchley up front compared to Morata, Mitchley is very static. He doesn't really move or work the two centre backs. He stands pretty still, and it doesn't help the link up play with the two supporting players around him. Moving on to the right hand side, and yes, Pedro. I feel Pedro, end of the day, just suits the system more, playing in the front three purely because of his off the ball movement, which helps a lot. His ability to make use of the spaces that Morata's creating for him, and he's making more space for Morata and Hazard to get back into goal, and I feel that he just complements the system really well. And I'll be looking at another stat. I think since last year or the start of this year, I think Spanish players at this team have scored 52 goals out of like the 70 something we've scored, which is a ridiculous amount. And I think Pedro just really complements how we play. Of course, he's got some limitations, but as I keep saying, when you play towards our players' strengths, you get the best out of what they can do. Finally, ending off with the guy on the left hand side, Eden Hazard. I feel that what I would like Conte to do is maybe have Hazard try collect the ball from wider positions. Why? Because I feel with Hazard collecting the ball from a wider position, that's going to force teams back a bit. That's going to stop their fullback getting forward as much. That's going to give confidence to Alonso to bomb forward because he has Hazard in front of him. And of course, Hazard starting on the left hand side as well creates space in the middle, which hopefully the likes of a Fabregas or Bakayoko can make sense of. And I feel that Hazard is sometimes collecting the ball from too many central positions recently, and I feel with him playing a bit wider, that could help us beat some of the pressing that we're facing recently. And I think Hazard's going to have a good game. Bournemouth are a type of team that just love to give space to top quality teams, and I think Hazard's going to make sense of it and he's going to have a great game. Anyway, you guys, that's my Predict That 11 video for the game against Bournemouth. What do you guys think? In the comment section below, I want to see some of your guys' thoughts on what you think our lineup should be. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, you guys, please press that bell notification sign so you'll stay tuned to everything Blue Lions TV. Thank you for watching today's video. I'm the FC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.